There's a small shield-shaped bug sitting motionless on your curtain right now, or maybe on the wall above your window, and your first instinct is probably to grab a tissue, crush it, and flush the whole problem away. It seems harmless enough, slow, clumsy, easy to squash without a second thought. But that single motion, the one that takes less than a second, might be the exact reason you're finding 10 more of them next week instead of 0. Because what that bug releases in its final moment isn't just an unpleasant smell. It's a chemical signal, a message written in scent, and once you understand what that message says, you'll never crush one again without thinking twice. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the bug you were about to squish might be quietly inviting its entire family into your home. The insect on your wall is a stink bug, and depending on where you live, it's most likely the brown marmorated stink bug, an invasive species that arrived in the United States from Asia in the late 1990s and has since spread across nearly every state. It gets its name from a gland on its abdomen that produces a sharp, acrid defensive chemical, a blend of aldehydes that smells something like rotting cilantro or old gym socks, depending on who you ask. But here's what almost nobody realizes. That smell isn't just a defense mechanism against predators. It's also a communication tool, and understanding how it works changes everything about how you should respond when you see one indoors. Before we go further, let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding standing between you and knowing what's actually happening in your home. Myth number 1, crushing a stink bug ends the problem. This is precisely backwards. When a stink bug is crushed, it doesn't just release its defensive odor into the air, it releases aggregation pheromones, the exact same chemical signals the species uses to call others of its kind toward a good location. In the wild, this pheromone helps stink bugs find each other to mate and to cluster together for warmth before winter. Indoors, it does something far less convenient for you. It marks your windowsill, your curtain, your attic corner as a proven safe site, one that's already been visited and approved, essentially painting an invisible sign that says more of us should come here. Squashing one stink bug can measurably increase the odds that others show up in the same spot within days. There's a strange detail here that most people never learn. The specific aldehyde compounds in that defensive spray, the ones responsible for the sharp, herbal, almost soapy edge some people notice, are chemically similar to compounds found in cilantro. That's not a coincidence of description. It's a genuine chemical overlap, and it's part of why some people describe the smell as weirdly familiar the first time they encounter it, even if they've never knowingly smelled a stink bug before. The same genetic variation that makes some people perceive cilantro as tasting like soap appears to shift how strongly people react to stink bug odor as well. A tiny quirk of your own biology may be deciding whether that smell registers as barely noticeable or completely unbearable. Myth number 2. Stink bugs are trying to bite you or damage your home. They aren't equipped to do either. Stink bugs have piercing mouthparts built for puncturing plant tissue and feeding on sap, not skin, and they have no interest in your furniture, your walls, or your food. The reason they end up inside your house in the first place has nothing to do with you at all. As temperatures drop in autumn, stink bugs seek a sheltered place to enter a dormant state called diapause, essentially a long sleep that gets them through winter. Homes offer exactly the kind of cracks, gaps, and warm wall cavities that mimic the tree bark and rock crevices they'd use in the wild. You're not being invaded, you're being mistaken for a hollow log. And the numbers involved can be surprising. In years with the right conditions, a single home can host hundreds of overwintering stink bugs tucked into wall voids, attic insulation, and the gaps around chimneys, all of them completely dormant, drawing almost no energy and posing no threat to the structure itself. They aren't reproducing indoors, they aren't feeding indoors, and in most cases they aren't even aware of your presence. They're simply waiting out the cold in the closest approximation of a sheltered crevice they could find, which, from a stink bug's evolutionary perspective, your house resembles perfectly. Myth number 3. All stink bugs are pests, and none of them do anything useful. This is where the story gets genuinely surprising. Not every stink bug is the invasive species eating through your tomato plants. There's an entire group of predatory stink bugs, species that look almost identical to the pest version at a glance, that spend their lives hunting caterpillars, aphids, and other soft-bodied insects that would otherwise devastate a garden. Entomologists have documented predatory stink bugs using their piercing mouthparts to stab and drain prey insects many times their own size, functioning as one of the more effective natural pest control agents a garden can have. Kill on site policies, the kind most homeowners apply without a second thought, wipe out these beneficial predators right alongside the invasive species they're commonly confused with. Before we go further, if this is already changing how you see the bug on your curtain, hit that subscribe button right now. We cover the hidden science behind everyday nature every single week. And drop a comment below. Have you ever crushed a stink bug without knowing what it actually released into the air? Here's where the science gets even more interesting. Researchers studying brown marmorated stink bug populations have found that they don't spread randomly through a structure. They follow chemical trails left by previous generations, meaning a home that hosted an infestation. One winter is significantly more likely to host another the following year, not because the same insects returned, but because the pheromone residue left behind, sometimes from bugs that died months earlier, still signals safety to new arrivals. This is why some homes seem to have a perpetual stink bug problem no matter how many times the owner vacuums up a fresh batch. The chemical memory embedded in the walls is quietly doing the inviting. And there's a second layer to this that most pest control advice completely ignores. Out in the wild, stink bugs aren't just victims of predators, they're active participants in a much larger ecological drama. Tiny parasitic wasps, some barely visible to the naked eye, specifically hunt stink bug eggs, laying their own offspring inside the egg mass so their larvae can develop by consuming the stink bug embryos from within. In their native range in Asia, this single relationship keeps stink bug populations low enough that they're barely considered a nuisance at all. Scientists studying agricultural fields have found these parasitic wasps destroying a substantial percentage of stink bug eggs they encounter. And researchers have begun encouraging farmers and homeowners to plant nectar-rich flowers like buckwheat, specifically because it feeds and sustains these wasps, turning a backyard garden into a functioning defense system that requires no spray, no trap, and no chemical at all. There's also a bird connection worth knowing, because it closes the loop on why broad pesticide spraying tends to backfire over time. Sparrows and swallows regularly pick off stink bugs as a food source, and praying mantises, often marketed as a beneficial predator you can buy for your garden, will readily take them too. Every time a homeowner blankets a yard in broad-spectrum insecticide to deal with a stink bug problem, that spray doesn't discriminate. It removes the bird's food source's competitors, it removes the mantises, it removes the parasitic wasps, and it clears the field for whichever pest species recovers fastest afterward, which is rarely the one anybody was trying to protect their garden from in the first place. So, what does all of this actually mean for the bug sitting on your wall right now? It means the tissue and squeeze approach you've been using for years has been quietly working against you the entire time. Every crushed stink bug is a small chemical broadcast, an invitation rather than an ending. The better move, when you find one indoors, is to gently trap it under a cup, slide a piece of paper underneath, and release it outside where it can either continue its dormancy in a less inconvenient location or become a meal for one of the many predators, birds, spiders, and parasitic wasps that are already working the problem for free. If you're dealing with a genuine seasonal influx, ceiling cracks around windows, doors, and utility lines before autumn does more to prevent the pheromone-driven cycle than any amount of after-the-fact crushing ever will. Here's the bigger picture worth sitting with. We've spent years treating every unfamiliar or unpleasant-looking insect the same way, as a threat to be eliminated on contact, without ever asking what that elimination actually triggers. The stink bug on your curtain isn't attacking your home. It's trying to survive winter in the closest thing it can find to a hollow tree. And the smell it releases when threatened isn't random chaos, it's information, a signal shaped by millions of years of evolution to keep its species alive. The next time you see one motionless on your wall, resist the reflex. What feels like solving the problem in that instant might be the exact chemical signature that guarantees you'll be dealing with the same problem again next week, multiplied. If this changed the way you look at the bug you were about to squash, subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel's about. The hidden truth behind the things you walk past every single day. Drop a comment right now. Did you know crushing a stink bug could actually attract more of them into your home?